Hey there, CPO here, and we're at twilight hours because no Jeep project would be complete if it didn't start in the daylight and end at dark. So I've been working on rewiring the Secaine head unit and making some upgrades, adding XM satellite radio, adding in a really hopefully interesting switching system for 3 cameras. So before it gets too dark, let me show you at least where I'm at so you can see sort of the progress, and then I'll show you the finished sort of result. All right, so here I am. Of course, everything is still out and a mess. It was actually a lot worse while I was wiring. As a matter of fact, here's a photo of what it looked like about midway through. As you can see, I have sort of a lot going on. So I made some modifications to my switches. Pretty much, so I took off my roof-mounted light bar, and even though you see there's a switch here, the switch label says that, but it's actually no longer what it does. It's now a 3-position switch, which I'll explain, but that's for cameras. So I have to order a new rocker whenever I decide what I want to say on it. But my bumper light bar and my rear lights all still function, as do my halos. Both, it's a 3-position ignition, off and then on always. And then my winch, of course, works with the in-out in my fighter jet toggle switch. So that's what I took apart to do. I have a lot of wiring in there that controls things, but as we run up, one of the things I added into that, sorry for the bright light, this is the camera switch module. So somebody on YouTube turned me on to this, which was really awesome. It basically is a relay box, which I was planning on doing manually, building it, but I didn't realize somebody had already sort of had a plug and play one. So it'll take 3 inputs and send them to 1 output, and then it uses 12 volt positive wire feeds. There's a, let me see here, there's a purple wire here and a red wire here. So one of the cameras will be on default. That'll be the front camera center. And then if I flip the switch one direction, it feeds the red, which engages the second camera. And if I flip it down, it'll engage the purple, which will engage the third camera. And that'll be for the outputs. I also have wired into that same switch the camera power, so the cameras won't be powered on 24/7. They will come on when the switch is engaged. That way they're just not sitting there running hot the entire time when they're not being used. So that's sort of what's going on there. I'd like to explain more, but I haven't even tested it yet. I just wanted to get it all wired up, and then I'll start playing around with adding the cameras. What I also did is added in XM satellite. So you can see here I have a Sirius module here. That is for the touch commander. Here's the actual unit itself that's going to plug into there. I haven't quite figured out where I'm going to mount this, but that's okay. It's just a simple like USB style connection with a lot of cables, so I can figure that out later. But I wanted to get the actual power module, and this is actually the control module in here, the receiver and everything. So this has accessory power, battery power, a dimmer wire which will adjust the illumination of the display based on the dimming of the lights inside. It also has the satellite antenna, which I'll explain here in a second, as well as 2 outputs. One output is a regular like 2.5 millimeter stereo output, and then the other one is one that plugs into the FM radio and forces the feed through there. I'm not positive which one of those I want to do. I'm going to start with the 2.5 millimeter, and then I have a splitter here. Don't worry, all the links to these products will be in the video description, so you can find out what I'm using here. But this splitter basically takes a 2.5 millimeter stereo and bumps it to RCAs, which I can then plug in to the back of the Seicane. It's got an auxiliary audio left, right, and then a video. So I'm going to use the left, right auxiliary for the satellite, see how that works. If I don't like that, then I can plug in the other thing which comes with the receiver, which pushes it into the AM/FM radio. So like I said, I'm still sort of experimenting here, but I wanted to show you where I'm at. So for the antenna, the Jeeps, 2015, a lot of the newer Jeeps, I don't remember what year it started, but the late 2010s-ish Jeeps, maybe 2013 and newer, have a dual XM satellite and GPS antenna, which means the wire can be used for both. So I plugged it into the Seicane earlier, which gave me GPS signal, but now I need that same antenna because I don't want to run a new antenna. I want the XM out of that. So I found this splitter that will allow me to split that signal. So one side the XM is getting, and then the other side the Seicane will get for the GPS. So it's just a simple, I guess it's not simple, but it's a satellite signal splitter. So that should be interesting. And then I have another adapter cable, which is this one here, that takes that splitter. Would be the same one I would use if I went straight from the XM satellite antenna into the Sirius XM receiver. Is I need this little adapter to convert this square plug to their round plug. Anyway, all these things are down in the description if you want to try any of them out. Let's see, what else do I have going on here? Oh, I did finally decide to go ahead and pull out that extension for the SD card. It's right here, plugged into the back in the SD card slot. I don't know if you can see that. It plugs in right there where the SD card goes. It's quite a long extension actually, so I should have no problem routing it off here to the side and coming out on the side of the glove box. I'll double stick tape it somewhere. Alternatively, I thought I could just, you know, tape it up here so I have access from the top cubby area. But either way, that extension does work. I hope. I haven't actually tried it, but that's where it goes. That's what it's designed to do anyway. So one last thing I want to point out before I let you go and then start buttoning this thing back up is I've seen a few people who have been curious about this little slot right here on the side and whether or not that is an SD card slot. I can tell you unequivocally, without doubt, that is not an SD card slot. As a matter of fact, if you look here, there's nothing behind it. It's just an empty hole. So it's quite possible that they may have had it provisioned for an SD card slot, depending on what hardware went in, but there is no hardware to accept an SD card in here. So sorry folks, those of you that saw that slot and were wondering, please do not push an SD card in there. It will not work. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. I'm gonna button all this up. I'll do another video later sort of showing you the final results. But yeah, welcome to, test meter, and a lot of crimping and soldering, but I'm pretty close to being awesome. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.